Russian President Vladimir Putin threatened to finish off Ukrainian troops on Friday after the warmonger ordered strikes on an Ukrainian energy facility in a brazen violation of the US-backed partial ceasefire. Moscow forces attacked the outpost in Kherson Thursday, breaching the precarious deal calling for a halt to military action in the Black Sea and a pause in long-range attacks on energy infrastructure. Putin, who had said that Moscow would end its strikes on Ukrainian energy targets, called on his troops to continue pushing forward into Ukraine and even step up their attacks.
"I was saying not so long ago, we will finish them off.
There are reasons to believe that we will finish them off," Putin said while attending the International Arctic Forum in Murmansk, according to the AFP. "We are gradually, not as fast as some would like, but nevertheless persistently and confidently moving toward achieving all the goals stated at the beginning of the special operation," the Kremlin leader added.
Kremlin spokesman Dmitry Peskov on Friday said Russia reserves the right not to adhere to the moratorium on strikes against energy installations.
The Russian side reached understanding and agreements with the US counterparts, Peskov said. At the same time, the Russian side reserves the right in case of failure of the Kiev regime to comply with it, certainly, not to follow it also. Their comments come as Washington works to re-establish a relationship with Moscow and engage with both Russia and Ukraine in separate talks to reach a peace deal. After discussions in Saudi Arabia this week, the White House said the warring countries had agreed to develop measures to implement the agreement to ban strikes against energy facilities in Russia and Ukraine. Those talks were sequestered at Moscow's request, so while both Ukrainian and Russian parties were in Saudi Arabia at the same time, the delegations did not speak to each other. Washington wants the warring nations to engage in talks with each other, but they must first build confidence in each other, which could happen if both sides adhere to the partial ceasefires, Special Presidential Envoy to Ukraine General Keith Kellogg told the Post on Tuesday. "President Trump wants to see both Ukraine and Russia in talks together," Kellogg said. "The question of settling when and how that happens will be the result of what we call confidence-building measures over time."
International leaders and foreign policy experts have said they suspect Putin of trying to prolong ceasefire talks without any serious intent of ending the war.
Even Trump called out Russia for dragging their feet in negotiations after Putin immediately went back on his word and launched a drone attack on Mykolaiv, a port city in southern Ukraine near the Black Sea. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky said the Russian president is drawing out the ongoing peace negotiations so he can buy time for an offensive against the Sumy and Kharkiv oblasts this spring, the French media outlet Le Figaro reported Thursday. Putin had originally wanted to carry out that plan last fall, but Ukraine's 7-month incursion into Russia's Kursk Oblast distracted Moscow's forces and stopped the plan, Zelensky said. That operation wrapped up earlier this month, with Ukrainian forces ceding the Russian territory back to Moscow. Putin at the Murmansk summit also called for Zelensky's removal and revealed plans to replace him with a transitional administration, to organize a democratic presidential election that would result in the coming to power of a competent government that would have the confidence of the people, and then begin negotiations with these authorities on a peace agreement and sign legitimate documents. The Ukrainian constitution calls for the suspension of elections while martial law is in effect. Zelensky declared martial law on February 24, 2022, in response to the Russian invasion.